Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 99 of the Hardly Millennial podcast, where we are young, dumb, and full of
opinions.
Opinions,
Oh,
guys.
man,
the answer
opinions.
is opinions.
I got it right. I
You
said
did.
it.
Yeah, you did. Good job, Justin.
Pleasure.
Hey, thanks for being with us today, Justin. What's up?
Honestly, it's an honor. I'm very excited. It's been a long time since I've sat in this very coveted position.
I was going to say, I don't think... Have you done a podcast since we changed it to a weekly
No,
affair?
You haven't done.
there's
a
not
three-man
enough
one?
time for me anymore. There's only one a week now.
So the last one you did, was it me and you?
No.
No, the last
wasn't that
one,
long
it was
ago.
gibberish. It was the gibberish one. That was the last one we all did.
Oh, the speaking in tongues.
Yeah.
Okay, so we did do a three-man.
We did a three-man.
did
That
a
was the
three-man.
last one we did before
Alright.
we took the 2-week break and switched it to a weekly podcast.
Oh, the very last one.
Yeah, it was
Sorry
literally,
about
the
that,
episode
guys.
was literally called
Oh,
gibberish.
we
Yeah.
actually had one post Thailand.
You and I did one. So you were on it when we did a weekly one, because you and I
Okay.
did one that was called it was just that it was called like To Thailand and Back, I think. I think it was like
Okay.
episode like 97 or some shit like that.
Well, then I
Regardless,
lied. I have
here we
been
are today.
Here we
since.
are again.
But I'm still honored. I'm especially happy to be here since you had your Three Musketeers podcast. I feel like now
my
that this has
gosh.
become a rites of passage for our close friends, that I'm now a veteran and I'm like a real part of this.
You're hardly millennial, bro.
You are, man.
How does it feel?
Truly, hardly. I mean,
Not even at all.
I mean, it truly though, like on the veteran note, I mean, this is episode 99. I mean, we're one away from
Next week will be 100,
the
man.
triple digits, man.
We've been doing this for a hot second.
We have since February 9th.
So how do we feel? Do you feel like we're getting better at this?
Oh, big time.
You know,
Big
it's funny.
time.
Me and Adam and I think it is how it goes. We have actually gone back and listened to some of the first podcasts that we did, and
It's pretty cringy.
it was obvious to tell we had no idea what we were doing.
It's pretty raunchy at some point.
I mean,
Speak for yourself. I think I was a natural.
oh man,
just things like how structured it was, how we would like sit there for half an hour before and try to think of like, all right, we need 8 subjects to talk about.
Yeah.
You know, and you could tell when you listen to it.
Well, we talked a little bit about this. I was talking about this to Danny and Vince last week about how like when I would go back and listen to like the first episode, now when we start off, like, hey guys, welcome to another Hardly Millennial podcast. Da, da. And if you go back to that first episode and listen to the opening, I'm like, hey guys, welcome to the Hardly Millennial podcast.
You were shy.
Yeah.
Well, I think we just wanted to keep it cool, dude.
Yeah, that's
you know,
exactly
you don't
what
want
it
to jump
was.
into the pool and be crazy, and so you just
You want to know how you can tell
cool.
we've evolved? Look at everything on the table right now compared to like how we used to
before
do
it was
this.
a notepad with a pen.
Well,
And
And
maybe a
you and
cup
I
of
were sitting
water.
across from each
I've
other.
always thought it was slightly sterile in the beginning myself, but I always took the lead from the sound people of this operation, even though you didn't want any of that. Or,
Right. Well, and we
I
just
I
got
think
to
we
a
nailed
point.
it today, though. with
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to tell the people what's on the table
So
today?
here's what's on the table. So Justin and I have drinks. It's this blueberry vodka that doesn't taste like vodka that Justin and I are drinking. That's probably gonna fuck us up as we're doing this podcast.
It's
here.
muddled blueberries with vodka, and I mushed it all together in a bowl, and I put it in a glass and put ice on top, a little more blueberry vodka, and then I did a little bit of blueberry flavored soda water.
Oh, I had no idea it was all of that. I just thought
Yeah,
it
it's
was
like a whole
blueberry
thing, dude.
vodka
It took
with
up like a
ice.
minute.
And it
He was
tastes-
squishing
It
blueberries and
tastes
shit.
like a warm summer night, doesn't it?
It does. It tastes very good. I love blueberries too, so this is fantastic for me. But so we have those. Matthew has his giant cup of coffee,
I'm
as he
drinking
always
coffee,
does.
as always.
We also have a container of chocolate chip cookies.
Because I'm on a diet.
Oh, the
but
finest.
Not today.
I'm on the seafood diet, bro. It's a seafood diet. I see food and I eat it.
Oh,
Oh, I miss seafood. My boyfriend doesn't eat it.
Oh.
nor do I. Sorry, I have ice in my mouth. We also have a vape, so you'll hear that throughout the podcast.
A what?
A vape.
Vape.
A vape. Oh, yes, the
I
vape.
speak mouthful.
Oh, okay.
Fluent.
And then we have a lovely bong with a grinder.
A little tiny one.
It's just a little.
It does
It's
the
more
job.
of a bubbler.
It does the job.
Of which
She's
I am not.
She's for in a little bit. We're not going to do that
partaking.
quite yet.
I'm the Alex Jones of this Joe Rogan podcast, and I am not smoking any of that.
Well, I'm Elon Musk, and I'll be hitting it.
I will not be hitting the weed either. It's I think this is I think I'm like 2.5 weeks now into not smoking any weed. I think.
Oh my
Longer-
gosh, guys! No joke though. On a real note, Adam's preaching here. We have made some big strides. Big strides in the millennial household.
No smoking cigarettes.
Well, I mean that, and you haven't smoked weed in like almost 3 weeks now.
Yeah, almost 3 weeks now.
3 weeks. You haven't smoked cigarettes, with the exception of like one.
I had one with Danny and Vince when they were here because that was just our thing. And if you listen
But
to
I
the
mean,
podcast,
whatever.
you know that was our thing.
Other than that, though, you've had no cigarettes for 3 weeks.
No cigarettes for 3 weeks.
I am on day 10. Day 10, everybody, of no cigarettes, which is a fucking miracle. I don't
Yeah,
know how
dude,
on
good
earth.
job, man.
I didn't even plan to do it, honestly. My body just told me that I was going to begin the process of dying if I didn't stop.
Yeah, they were
So
definitely.
I just decided to stop.
There were definitely times. I remember you being like, "Dude, my lungs just hurt."
I was just in constant physical pain and all over my chest. So I feel great now.
And if using vices was a period, I've just had my very light spotty days for the past few weeks.
You're having a happy period?
I mean, very light. You know, I don't anticipate a big gush coming.
Good.
I think. I'm a little bit older. I know you can't tell that I'm a little bit older by the way that I look and the way that I sound, but I just don't bounce back from stuff quite as well as I used to. And it just came to my attention that one, if I wanted to keep up with my very millennial boyfriend and just kind of be productive, I just couldn't do it anymore. I just couldn't. So I try to replace it with things that are a little bit more active. I've been working in the yard. I have ducks again.
Today was a big day.
Yep.
We got ducks today, guys.
We got ducks today.
Not like last time.
Well, last time I bought baby ducks and I bought 13.
This was about 8 months ago, 9 months ago.
That was a very big mistake. So just to not throw off the
many.
perspective, yeah, lot of poop. Like a whole lot of poop. Too much poop. So just to avoid that, the misperception, the bad perception of what they'd grow into, I decided to just go with 2.
It's a very conservative too.
Yes.
And they're already grown.
They're already
Wait,
big.
are these the same? I haven't seen him yet. Are these the same kind of ducks that you got last time, or are these a different?
Well,
kind
yes,
of duck?
because I wanted the kind that make no noise. So it's the same exact
touche.
kind.
Do you
but
remember
I
the
only
boys
got,
that were kind of like green? Had like
Right.
the greenish
is it
tint to them?
those?
That's the boy.
well, they're black and white.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're the black
they
and
look
white
great.
kind.
And they're fully grown. You were saying, Ray?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just got 2. So anyway, that's new. That'll get me up early in the morning. That's the key. I've struggled very much getting up really early. I can do like 6, but I'm really trying to go for that 4:30 number so that by the time I go to
Ooh,
work,
yoy, yoy.
I've actually had a productive day. That is my goal.
My next goal is like the cigarettes and the weed were the big thing. You know, eventually I'll get off the nicotine altogether is the goal. You know, I'll probably go back to the weed at some point later in life, but I need a long break from the weed. The next stop for me is the exercise and the diet part, because let me tell you, my
those are
diet is
huge.
fucking horrible.
Honestly, you can do all the other bad shit. You can do all of your other bad thing that you want if you diet and exercise.
No,
Those are
you
like
know-
the 2 most important.
That is true. Exercise big time too. Like you shouldn't, but you could eat like shit, and as long as you're exercising on a daily basis,
You're gonna be somewhat okay.
Yeah, somewhat okay.
Have you started with stretching?
I try, man.
Adam loves stretching, guys.
I don't do it a lot, but I do know the importance of it. So when I do get to the point where I'm exercising a lot, I do start stretching a lot. But no, I have not been stretching as of late. I need to though. I'm so fucking inflexible. Like,
man, I know.
I'm like the least fucking inflexible.
As far as diet goes, I mean, imagine like a one-legged person with a crutch. They can do pretty good. They stay up, but when they fall, like they just fucking fall. That's me on a diet. I I hobble along. I do okay. I'm conscious, but man, one thing happens to throw me off. I really fall off, and I get back up and I go. But I think I'm gonna take a pretty drastic measure. Do you want to tell them about the?
Go for it, man. Tell 'em.
All right, so Adam and I are gonna take a liter of magnesium citrate.
What the fuck is that?
Exactly.
That sounds like poison.
Well, it kind of is like that.
I want a cookie.
Oh my god, is this the end? Are you gonna leave me the house?
No.
Speaking of
I
that,
can't
I'm
take.
gonna
You
eat
just
a-
got all these animals, and then you're gonna.
So
off
it's
it.
what you drink before you have a colonoscopy to really clean everything out.
Oh
So
fuck that shit in the glass bottle.
yeah.
Oh
So
no.
I'm going to drink that so that way when I do a dry fast on Tuesday and
I haven't got
Wednesday,
into those cookies.
Oh, these cookies are fantastic.
good.
Okay, sorry.
but when I do a dry fast on Tuesday and Wednesday, I don't have to worry that my body's like just holding on to a whole bunch of garbage as I'm trying to
I feel you.
do a hard restart on my body. So
So you're gonna totally clean yourself out, and then you're gonna do a 2-day
yeah,
dry
you
fast?
shit for like 24 hours. Yeah. And then, I'm just going to do no food and no water. Look it up. It's safe if you do it right. I've done it.
Oh, he's done it
before.
many times.
I know
before,
what I'm
guys.
doing.
It's no big
So,
deal.
but what is the difference? Like, why drink this stuff rather than just like do an enema to
Yeah,
clean
what
out
is
your
what is
colon?
the difference?
Why? Because an enema just cleans out like the bottom part of your system where poop would be stored. So there's nothing in your actual like butthole, rectum, colon.
Nothing that the dick's gonna fucking like plunge out.
Well, in so many words, yes. Adam.
Jeez Louise, Adam.
I mean, let's just be honest here.
Way
Who's
to
using
put it.
enemas?
Way to
Okay.
put it. Constipated people, they use enemas.
Do they?
Yes.
Huh.
Or people who have
I'm sure one of them has
some
at
kind
some
of
point.
atrophy in their ability, in the muscles that would help them push. But anyway,
Sphincter atrophy? That'd be horrible.
or some kind of paralysis or
Do
something
you get
like
that from sitting on your ass too much?
Uh,
Okay, anyway, continue.
But anyways, it really just cleans out the entire system.
starts
you
from the
actually
top.
digest it. Yeah.
And it's other than the fact that it makes you shit like crazy, it's harmless?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, doctors will say to chug that before a colonoscopy.
What
so
about it
everything is
makes
really
you
clear.
shit? Is it just like heavy?
No, it's
It's the magnesium.
magnesium
isn't it? Yeah.
that's in there. Magnesium citrate. It just goes in. It has like a salt quality
Oh, okay.
to your body. It's like doing a salt flush almost.
Isn't that basically what fiber is? Isn't fiber like or anything that has quote unquote fiber in it, like rich in magnesium?
Yeah.
Isn't that okay?
Uh-huh.
That's what I thought. So,
Absolutely.
just gonna make you shit a
Really?
lot.
And then I just plan on really trying to be good until then. I'm going to Puerto Rico in January.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned the hard way that a quick 6-week crash diet is not always as lovely as it sounds. It did not work for me before Thailand. So I'm going to do like a 6-month crash diet.
But I've also seen you dry fast for 3 days and literally lose. Didn't you lose like 21 pounds or something in
Something
3 days?
like that.
Something
Yeah,
insane.
Yeah, to be fair, you started off this year really strong.
Yeah.
In
You were
3
all
days,
like-
dude.
Yeah,
It
because
was
you were all like,
crazy.
"Oh, New Year's is gonna start," and I remember
Well,
you fasted
Every
for like
every
a
couple
week.
hours you got on the scale and you were lighter. Like
Yeah,
every
it was
couple
crazy.
hours.
Well, the thing with January, New Year, New Me, it was very easy to get in that state of mind. But February is my birthday month, and this was my first birthday with a significant other, and we went out a lot. And I've been in Arizona for 3 years now, and I've made a lot more friends. So a lot more people have taken me out, and all
And you
that.
went on
It's
vacation a couple
really
times, too.
hard for me to went on vacation a couple times, and it's always like I'm gonna do good until vacation, and it's like I'm not gonna worry about it until after I'm back from vacation. So here we are. I'm still fat, and here's to January of 2020,
Sorry about that, guys.
looking great.
For our headphone viewers, that just blew your ears out. Sorry about that.
Oh man,
We will not be editing it out.
Speaking of
Love
2020,
you.
I'll be honest. For someone who likes to stay up with anything political going on these days with all of our issues,
oh yeah, you love politics.
I do, but I actually
does.
have not had the opportunity to actually watch this circus sideshow.
Oh, I sure did. I watched both of them.
So I caught the second debate.
You caught the whole thing?
I caught almost the whole second debate. Yes.
Okay, because I've been watching like highlights of the first debate.
Me and Adam
and
watched it.
yeah.
Adam and I.
I've heard that it was pretty awful. I watched the highlights, and of course the highlights are going to be what's awful. But then I watched the highlights from a more leftist media network.
Oh, the left hates it too. The left is critiquing it just as much as, is criticizing it just as much as the right is.
Well, I watched
Why is that?
Trevor Noah.
Because it's just been a fucking circus.
Oh.
And they're sitting there like, I remember one outlet had said something along the lines of, where the Democratic Party wants to show that, is trying to prove that, Trump's presidency is a circus, right?
Right.
But then you see these fucking debates, both of them, and they were both just fucking shit shows. They were basically attacking. It was friendly fire.
It was.
They were
really.
attacking each other.
What was crazy is that I want to say 5 minutes, that it probably just felt like 5 minutes. I'm sure it was 1 minute of literally everybody in like that last 45 seconds or so. So maybe it was 45 seconds, just firing, trying to get as much out as possible. And you could hear nobody.
Yeah.
Well, what really bothers me about the debates, and I complained about this with the Republican debates too, is so many times the moderators would be like, okay, yes or no, or give us a 2-word answer, right? And they would go down the line. I think one of them was like, who do you think our biggest foreign policy threat is, right? So a lot of people say like China or Russia or the whatever it was. And they would be like, okay, we just want to make sure we get everybody's answer in. We want to make sure we have enough time to get to other questions. So they would go down the line, and not one fucking candidate could just say China, or could just say North Korea. They all had to try to be like, well, I think that the biggest problem with the country is that, and they would just
Donald Trump is in collusion with.
Well, it wouldn't even be a Trump bashing thing. It would just be they would try to fit a paragraph, and while they're trying to fit in this paragraph, moderators are like, hey, we just need one answer.
They didn't Trump bash hardly at all, from what I saw. They talked more about how they need to band together to fight Trump, because Trump's going to be a hard opponent. But there was actually very little Trump bashing compared to what I thought there was going to be.
Yeah.
Well, I saw a good amount of it, but I also watched highlights.
It was there, but for the whole 2 hours for both of them, it wasn't.
I was surprised
as great.
that it wasn't like the focus. But who was one of your favorites? Adam, did you have anyone who surprised you?
Oh, give me your phone. I have one, and she was amazing.
Was it the author? The one on the far left of the stage that kind of looked hippie-ish.
Kind of grayish hair.
But tried to look pretty.
Yes. What is that bitch's
was
name?
amazing.
Okay, so she's a kook.
Yes.
And she's not going to win, and
But
she
she
shouldn't
impressed
fucking
me.
win.
But she impressed me.
She gave an answer though that Matthew and I were very.
I wish I could remember what it was.
So
I think it was a one answer she gave, right?
So yeah, they hardly asked her anything, but it was a question about
healthcare.
Healthcare. You're right. So it was a question about healthcare, right? So they're asking the different candidates different questions about healthcare. A lot of them are about we need healthcare for all. It's it's not a privilege, it's a right. Blah 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 blah. Right. However, she answered, we need to stop talking about this plan of everybody gets health care and start visiting or asking the question, why is everybody so fucking sick? That was what she said.
We
she
need
goes,
to cure the
we need to cure the
sick.
people who are sick, and
AKA
the healthcare
better
can be
food,
later.
less medicine.
Yes.
Make people healthier.
And so what's funny though is enough, and you're right, her last answer of lead the world with love and stuff. Yeah, was
I'm harvesting love.
Yes, that was a kook answer for sure. However, I had read a couple days after the debate that the Republicans, there are conservatives who are donating money to her campaign to keep her in the
they
tweeted
debates for all their followers to donate $1.
Yes, because people wanted to hear more of what she had to say. So there are more conservatives now that are actually donating to her campaign because they want to keep her in the race.
You know what? I'm gonna give her $1.
Yeah, why the fuck not? I'm curious to see
I'm
what she has
definitely
to
going to keep
say.
listening to what she has to say. I'm curious. I was very blown away, but I guess by that particular answer, because she didn't give much else than that.
Let's look up her name so that we're not just like...
I think she presented herself well. She talked very well.
Spoke.
Exactly. She talked real good. Yeah, man, I was impressed.
Me too. And as much of a kook as she is, I think she comes from like a self-help temple.
Marianne Williams.
Marianne
Williamson.
Okay.
Oh, Mary A.
Marianne Williamson, yeah.
Well, I liked her.
Yeah. Everybody's calling it the bizarre charm of Marianne Williamson.
Yes, I will call it that
Yeah.
too. I mean, like I said, there's not a whole lot of policy.
It would be crazy if she just
So
came
far.
up from behind and was like just this prodigy that
I
was
love
meant
that.
to be the
I
president.
love that.
I would love that too, you know?
Because you know what?
It's not
I'd
gonna
love
happen, but it'd
to
be cool.
see a debate between her and Donald Trump. I would just...
That would be a
I would love to
mass
see
debate.
that. And she called him out. She goes, and you, Mr. Trump, if you're listening, or President Trump.
She did, yeah.
And he's listening. So, you know what? He's not shy. I'm sure he'll come back. I mean, I'd hope to be on this podcast
Well.
again and talk about his response.
Yeah.
On the quick subject of Daddy T, I think he might not be focused on the debates today because
I
he's
love
making
this.
history. Did you hear what he just did?
It's a little blown out of proportion, but it's still significant.
It's very symbolic, is what it is.
He was in Japan,
And he made a tweet.
called his homie,
Kim Jong-un,
and said,
dictator of North Korea.
yo,
Yeah.
I'm already like almost here.
I'm in the neighborhood, broski.
Okay, I could piss and hit your country, but you'd bomb us. So, how about I come in and see you? And he was like, "Yeah, my nig, come on down." So they met in the DMZ, and they were all chatting away. And he was like, "Hey, follow me, Donnie." And Donnie was like, "Follow you where?" Mr.
Mr.
I think it's Mr. Kim, actually.
Mr. Kim,
Kim
yes.
Jong-un.
I think
is
Jong
his
Un
name.
is their first name, and in Korean countries, you say the last name first.
So that's true, but I think in the case of this, Jong-un is the last name.
No, because the
No,
last one
the
was
last
John
one was
Il.
John Il, and his name was Kim.
Kim Jong
his
Il,
daddy.
Kim Jong Un. Yeah, I think Justin's right. I think it's Mr. Kim.
Huh. I know that's how it is in Japanese culture. I didn't know that's how it was with Korean
I think it's
also.
Korean too, or else
Yeah,
they wouldn't
I
both
think
be
he's
Kims
right.
with different.
I never realized it, but yeah.
So
Anyway, where did they go?
they literally took one step off the DMZ into North Korea.
Into
They
North
took a
Korea.
few steps. We watched the video.
He was-
they took a few
Did
steps.
they?
Yeah, he took a few steps
he-
in. He shook his hand.
took
and
some
what's,
pictures.
What's incredible is there was no, I'm sure they were right outside but there was no Secret Service or any kind of security next to Donald Trump at any point.
I don't think they
Yes.
actually
It was
planned that was going to
crazy.
happen. And I think Donald Trump was actually like, "You guys, is it cool if I do this?" Like,
Well, because we
I was
watched.
shocked that they allowed him to go by himself like that.
I was gonna say because we watched the video and all that happened was Donald Trump walked up right to the line, and then Kim Jong Un was basically. I think actually I can't remember, but I think Donald Trump literally asked like
think
if I
he
could
did.
step over, and Kim Jong Un
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah."
He's like, "Come on, my dude."
man." And Kim Jong Un was actually the one who said the word like, "You are the first sitting U.S.
Yes.
president."
I do
Who's
recall that.
ever gone into North Korea?
Yeah.
Not like he went to the Capitol or anything,
No,
but he
no,
technically,
but
it's the
he
furthest
walked
we've
in.
ever gone.
But
man.
he was greed. It wasn't like he wasn't like the leader wasn't there and he just walked in.
Yeah, no, he was greeted by the leader.
He was greeted by
They
the leader.
stood
and he
next to
walked
each
in.
other for a hot minute. They took a
well,
bunch of
I
pictures.
think that's great. I think that'll go down in the history books at
Oh,
some
for sure.
point.
I think he's going to go down as one of the greatest presidents. Like, not right now, obviously, but in like 30 years from now, it's going to be like a Ronald Reagan kind of thing. I think
Yeah.
everyone's going to look back and be like, he was great.
Yeah.
Well,
Not that I agree with everything he does, but that's just what I think.
It's
I don't agree with everything that he does either, but I definitely, if
But when it
you look
comes
at the
to-
whole package and you're like, dude, just until you can convince me that something worse is going to come out of this than any of the good that has so far,
Right.
I'm not going to be scared of my imagination. Let's just see what this guy's got. Let's do it.
yeah. I mean, I think Matthew's right though when when we think back to this presidency in retrospect, assuming he doesn't fuck up anything else for the next 4 years, because I mean, let's face it, he's more than likely going to get reelected.
I would put money on it. I think a lot of people would put money on it.
Yeah. But then again, a lot of people put
unless
money down
a Democrat comes up like a fucking phoenix out of the ashes.
And that's just it. But
polarizes the nation.
Yeah, but that's just it. But going back to watching the Democratic debates with the 20 of them, honestly, the only one that stood out even a fucking inch was Marianne Williamson, and that was just because of one answer.
Yeah. Personally, well, to us,
yes,
I think that. The name I'm hearing the most right now is Elizabeth Warren, which is a sham. I think it's just terrible. But
she's so strong.
As far as poise, as far as being well-spoken, confident, aggressive, and someone that can make people who follow her feel really safe, dude, Kamala Harris.
Oh, I hated her.
I hated her too, but you know
horrible,
what?
But she was polarizing.
I can see why people follow her. If you want, the reason that people will follow her is the reason that I followed Barack Obama. I was hypnotized. I just believed.
I didn't feel like, okay, and don't get me wrong, I wasn't an Obama fan, but I could understand the likability of Barack Obama. I just do not get it with Kamala Harris.
So I'm going to make a comment, and I don't want it to be blown out of proportion, particularly by the viewers here. But I attribute her a lot to a personality such as Ocasio-Cortez. Not as outrageous by any means, but very, like, warrior justice-y for the women, band behind me.
Yeah, well,
I'm going to make outrageous comments.
I will say this. As far as, like, a formidable opponent to put up against somebody as clownish as Trump, Kamala Harris is probably the front runner for that.
She would get torn apart, dude.
I think they would all get torn apart. Honestly, I think every single one of them would.
Uncle Joe,
but if you're going
to
choose
Joe
one,
Biden, he's not going to do it.
Yeah, but if you're going to choose one to put up against him, Warren would just be another Clinton. She would debate exactly like.
Oh, it'd be even easier than Clinton.
Yeah.
She doesn't even have the name Clinton had.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, dude.
And everybody knows that she lied about being a freaking Native American.
Which is so funny that she still, like, has the kind of popularity that she does.
I agree.
Of that. I mean, that's like, could you imagine if Trump all these years had said that and then it came out that he wasn't? Like, or really any conservative.
Gosh.
Any conservative. Like, nobody, even the conservatives would be like, fuck this guy, he's a liar. But then Warren does it, and you have plenty of people who are like, fuck her, she's a liar. But
Trump is outrageous and unprecedented, but he doesn't break the law.
And he doesn't actually
break any rules.
There's nothing wrong with being outrageous and unprecedented.
Right. When you tell someone that you're a different ethnicity than you are, particularly to get certain benefits, that is cheating and lying and breaking the rules. Right. So there's no respect there. You can't even, like, look the other way on that one and give him a different chance.
I'm a Trump supporter, but in all fairness, he has definitely been accused of lying about himself or about his net worth, so that way he can cheat.
But he's never been proven of lying about it either. He's never shown the documentation.
That's true, I guess. No one's ever done that.
Which I think would be fucking hilarious if he did show it and he was a billionaire.
How about, just a little side note for a sec, how about this little stunt to try to, slander him a little bit before he could possibly get reelected with this lady who talked about this quote unquote sexy rape allegation? Actually, that's not a quote unquote. I
haven't heard about that.
Bit.
Oh, I think you have. I think you and I talked about it a little bit. There was a woman that came out and said Trump raped her like years ago.
And
was this like a minute ago that this happened?
No, it was like a week
like
ago.
Last week.
Oh no, I haven't heard about that.
So this woman claims
it's pretty outlandish
that years ago, I think in like the mid 90s, that Donald Trump came up to her in a Bergdorf Goodman department store. Apparently there was nobody around. There was no cameras on, and said that he needed a gift for one of his girlfriends or something like that. And long story short, he hits on her, pulls down her panties. She fought him off.
Allegedly.
Okay.
That's
And-
ridiculous.
but there is
and
no
zero talk about it until right
there
this
was
moment.
literally nobody in the store.
Exactly.
And she
there
chose
was-
this moment to tell
She
anyone
chose.
about it right
Well,
now.
she actually did not come forward and to report on it or to whistleblow it. She wrote a book that had this story in it, and then they were like, "We want to talk about the fact that you were raped by Donald Trump," and she goes, "Well, I won't say that I was raped. That's not the word that I use."
Yeah, it was actually. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I believe she was on with. I want to say it was Anderson Cooper.
She was, but also someone else. This happened 2 different ones.
Right.
Yeah.
But there was a particular one, I think it was with Anderson Cooper, where it was actually kind of funny to watch because she was telling this story I almost believe her just because of this interview alone, right? She was talking about, he approached me, he started to feel me up, and then the interviewer, Anderson Cooper, or the other guy, I can't remember who it was like,
We're down
like,
to 2.
oh, so he raped you, so he was sexually assaulting you.
That's
so,
a rape. That is that. But legally, that is a rape.
Yeah, and she just kept saying, well, then he did this, not saying it was rape, just saying this is what
But
happened.
not saying
Right.
it.
So then,
Yes.
actually, what she said was, "I didn't consider myself to have been raped. I fought him off. He did not get inside me." And she goes, "Plus, rape is not the word I would use because rape has more of a sexy connotation."
So it's like they tried to
And they were
use
like,
her
"What?"
as this, and she
A
just
sexy connotation.
Okay, so I've heard people commenting on the rape is sexy thing
And then
over
she
the
goes,
last week.
"Think about all the fantasies," and they were like, "Okay, we need to cut to a commercial."
yeah.
Okay, so I've heard about that part, but I didn't know that's where it stemmed from.
Yeah, so they tried to use her as oh my gosh, we found somebody. This woman was raped by Trump. And then when they asked her about it, she's like, well, no, I wasn't. This is just what
It
happened.
just makes it look like people are grasping at straws, dude.
Well, they are.
People are grasping
It's not
at
a good
straws.
look, though. It's not an endearing look. It's not a look that you want a leader of your country to have.
Luckily, you are not someone who watches any mainstream media. So
Not really, no.
to you, that all makes perfect sense. But when you get all of your information from mainstream media and they skew everything to make it look like he is this horrific racist sexual predator.
I think that he's definitely rough, and he's definitely an aggressive person.
Oh, he's rough and tough.
he-
Absolutely.
He definitely is the loudest person in the room, and the squeaky wheel, all those things. I think, and he's probably obnoxious if you're in the same room with him.
And the thing is, too,
But I don't think that he's bad or evil.
No, well, and the thing is, this woman did make a very good point, and there's been memes about now with it being the quote unquote sexy rape or something. Is that what you called it, or is that what they're calling it?
That
you
is what
said?
she
That's
called
what
it.
I've heard.
Right. Okay, but the thing is, there are things like this that happen all the time, and if the girl is into the guy, it's looked at a very different kind of situation, a very different, intimate, just that sexy kind of
You
situation.
know what I thought of?
What?
On the kind of the same lines what you're saying. I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm
go
sorry.
for it.
But what if you're role playing a rape scene, and then you decide to tell people that you got raped? Because technically,
Well,
you did.
That's
but
a big
you were
hot
cool
topic.
with it.
That's a
You were-
huge hot topic.
Well,
Is
that-
it really?
Well,
Yes.
and that goes along the lines
How
of
does that
what
work?
I was saying. It's all of a sudden if you're doing this to a girl though who maybe is not into that kind of stuff. I do believe there are plenty of guys who overstep their boundaries. But then there are also plenty of guys who will take a step back, and those girls will go on and say, "Oh my God, he touched me, he raped me, do whatever this is." Things are just there's no line of definition anymore. Is the
There
problem?
needs to be
Every-
a time limit of. Well, not to say
There
that
is.
because that
There is.
sounds intolerant.
There's a
but-
statute of limitations.
Well, not
Well, no.
it's
That's not what
different.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying of when you can accuse someone. But then I hesitated to say that because that sounds wrong. My original thought is, if you feel that you were sexually assaulted, you have, let's just say 6 months for the sake of a conversation. You have 6 months to report it, and if you choose not to, then after that 6 months, just for the sake of a conversation, you wouldn't be able to affect someone's life with that information anymore.
Well, and there's statute of limitations in different states. It varies in different states. I
But
know
that goes from when you're accused, not from when you committed the act.
right. I see what you're saying.
So if you're accused 10 years later, your statute of limitations starts there, not 10 years ago when
No.
you committed it.
But
No,
but
if
that
you
wouldn't
say
make
he
sense,
raped
though.
me 15 years ago And the statute of limitations is 10 years. You're 5 years over.
It doesn't go from when you were like accused
No.
of it happening.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess that's exactly what I.
Which
thought.
is why.
But some
I'm a
states don't
genius.
have, like Arizona doesn't have a statute of limitations. So if somebody came forward and was like, "This person raped me 30 years ago,"
I just don't
they
feel
could
like you
still-
should be able to say like 6
Well,
years ago this guy
But
touched
the
me.
problem is though, the statute of limitations isn't even the issue, because the problem is, like, let's say for sake of argument, let's say the statute of limitations was a week, right? Let's say like you had, like, if it happened over a week ago, there's nothing that can be done, right? Or hell, let's go longer and say 10 years. The problem is, if somebody 20 years after when they said somebody raped them, whether they did or not, the second that woman says Matthew raped me, your name is slandered now
Forever.
Yeah, they're
You're
gonna
in a
post
Google
out on social
search.
media.
Yeah,
You're not
but
gonna be able
there's
to get a
also
job.
ways to go around because you can sue someone for slander
But
too, though.
you'll get your
So-
money. You'll get your money, but you will always go down as the person who was accused of rape, and you
Well,
never
you can't
recover
stop
from
someone
that.
from accusing someone of something.
Exactly.
I could
And
accuse
that's
you
the
of
unfortunate.
anything.
You're right, and that's the issue.
That's
right
just
now.
life.
Where
Why has
the-
that never been an issue before?
Well,
With like anything.
Well, the problem is it stemmed from a good place of saying, like, because I do believe there was an issue where there were men who were just getting away with this who shouldn't be getting away with this. I mean, the Harvey Weinstein shit in Hollywood was a perfect example of this, or a lot of what was happening in Hollywood. But the problem is now we've reached this point to where people are crossing the lines. People are doing it for 15 minutes of fame. Perfect example is when the woman accused Neil deGrasse Tyson of it.
Oh, yeah,
remember?
that's ridiculous.
And it ended up just being this simple thing of she had a tattoo of the solar system.
He's socially
on the
awkward.
shoulder.
He's awkward is what it was.
But that's the problem. Or heck, I remember, Justin, you were telling me stories of people that you knew who were accused of this, and it was proven that they didn't do it, but their name was still slandered.
Well, I was
by
accused
it.
of this.
Oh yeah,
in
you
college.
were also, but you're also telling me in
was-
high school
yeah.
you knew somebody too.
I will be right
Oh
back.
yeah, I'm related to somebody.
Yeah,
Yes.
Don't warm my coffee up. Sorry.
go warm your
That's
coffee
okay.
up.
No, I was accused of taking advantage of a woman while she was drunk.
And for those who haven't guessed yet, Justin's a very gay man.
Yes. So she claimed that she passed out drunk and that I took advantage of her, which I don't know how you know that if you were passed out drunk. And secondly, the only reason anybody would believe that is because I was the one guy that any sorority girl was totally comfortable with me falling asleep in their bedroom.
Right.
Because I'm gay.
Yeah.
And I was very well known in my particular Greek system. I was very popular as the first openly gay male one of the first. So, but yeah, and the thing is, just because your peers may not believe it, the campus police will believe it.
Yes, exactly. Well, and that's the issue, right? Is all of a sudden, like, it gets to this point to where you are demonized now if you do not believe the woman for saying that. And it doesn't matter what the circumstance or what the situation is. It's like, okay, you're right. You accused him. You must be telling the truth. And that's a lot of the argument now is like, well, if a woman says that she was raped by somebody, you have to believe her. It's like, no.
Or else you're a misogynist.
Yeah. I mean, really the deep issue with all of this, even beyond the rape accusations, is just there used to be this system of innocent until proven guilty, and now it's very much a guilty until proven innocent type of society that we live in.
Well, victimhood is powerful.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe a victim, then you are the same as the villain, or the what is it? The violator. What do you call that?
Now that you're asking me, I'm
Perpetrator.
Perpetrator.
Yeah, you're pretty much the same
Back,
thing.
by the way.
You're enabling them to rape women. You're
Right.
part of the problem.
But do you know what?
That's so hot. Oh my god. Ow.
I thought you were like laughing at what
No,
he
that was
said.
incredibly hot. I just nuclefied my whole mouth, dude.
Oh God.
You didn't try sipping it first?
No, it's like sandpaper. My entire mouth is like sandpaper now.
Well, we're gonna get through this.
Probably deserve that. Taste it next time.
That was really hot. Sorry.
But I mean, unfortunately, and what people don't see yet, and I see it, is every single time there's something like that, the pushback is always going to be more. So it's the boy who cried wolf. You know, you're gonna cry and cry and cry about it, and then it's gonna get to this point where we're gonna have so many people making accusations about stupid shit
that the
not even
real
just rape,
victims are not going to be heard, dude.
Exactly.
Because people are going to say, "Oh, another one."
And you're already seeing that happen.
That's sad because there are actual victims who really terrible things happen to them.
We haven't reached the point yet where the actual victims are speaking out against people who are accusing falsely. The actual victims are actually like, yeah, believe all women, you know, because it's a very emotional thing to have been taken advantage of sexually. You know, it really does scar you. So you come from an emotional place. And I'm not calling this female hysteria, which I do think totally exists as someone who works with lots of women, but I'm not calling it female hysteria. I'm calling it real human emotion. When you are raped or taken advantage of, you are coming from a very vulnerable and very emotional place. So you're like, yeah, believe all women. Believe me. I'm a woman. This happened to me. You know, me too. But we have not yet gotten to the place where real victims are saying, do not trivialize, you know, my situation.
Yes. Well, because women aren't excluded in the demonizing part if you don't believe other women.
Oh, absolutely.
You know? People think it's just men are demonized if you don't believe women, but no, everybody's demonized if you don't believe the victims. That's the problem. And when everybody's demonized, when you make out everybody to be a demon, well, at some point, nobody's going to be a demon anymore.
Well, yeah, that doesn't matter anymore.
Exactly.
Right? It's just what everyone does.
Well, we're gonna see where this all goes. I mean, it's gonna implode on itself. All of this kind of thing has to implode on itself. Eventually, we're gonna get so tired of watching what we say. We're gonna get so tired of treating everyone like they could either potentially be a victim or are a victim.
Well, isn't it happening in multiple fronts though? Because we have this sexual assault / rape thing going, okay, and everyone's starting to feel like it's a lot, like it's just happening over and over. Same thing with the case of no one wants to talk about it, but rape. That's really big right now, and everyone is talking so much about it that it's going to become desensitized. You know, immigration, everyone's talking so much about it, it's going to become desensitized.
Well, how is immigration going to become desensitized? You can't be like, I'm an immigrant. Oh, I don't care. Like, what do you mean it's going to be?
I think he's just referring to, like, how much people, like, it's going to become old news, is I think what you're saying.
Just the topic.
Yeah. Right.
We're not going to care about the topic anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. When there really are issues in those fields that actually should be addressed.
As long as it's tied to somebody's money, I think that it's always going to be a hot topic. Because, you know, people look at illegal immigrants as dollar signs in the negative.
I mean, I don't even think it has to do with money. I think it simply has to do with what political power is, or what political parties in power at the time.
Yeah, but
because the thing is, we know that things like this. I mean, if you go back and you look at the facts, we know things like this
was like gay rights. Yeah. Gay rights right now. They're putting so many letters, and it's becoming so, in my opinion, obnoxious. The whole thing
that goes back to
it just desensitizes to the people who really do have issues and want to be heard.
Well, and that goes back to the same thing. I think it truly just depends on what political party is in power, because we already know, like if we go back to the issue of immigration, we already know that there have been evil things that Democratic presidents have done with immigrants and have said about immigrants in the past, but they're now looked at as issues because of, in general, the stance that the Democratic Party puts on immigration. So it's like, oh, well, it must not be an issue because we know where they stand on that. Mm-hmm. But then we know where the conservative side stands. So then when there's a conservative who's president, now all of a sudden it's an issue and it needs to be addressed. Even though it's the same fucking shit that's been happening, but now all of a sudden it's a problem. We see that right now with Trump and Obama. There are plenty of people who are arguing, and you can go back and look at the facts that Obama wasn't much better in the immigration policy.
Well, he actually deported a lot more people.
Yes, exactly. And that was even a question they brought up during the debate. But all of a sudden, it's an issue.
Wasn't there a very risque law that was made during Obama here in
Arizona?
Lot. But one in
that was
particular.
but that wasn't an Obama
About
thing.
the
That was-
papers that you have to
yeah,
have papers or
the
something.
1037 or something.
Yeah,
like
that one. It was like super risque.
But that wasn't an Obama thing though. That was
no?
a Joe Arpaio thing.
But there was
Well,
one that,
I remember that. Dude.
Obama
Everyone's up
made.
in arms about that.
Oh, that was a big deal.
Obama made a law saying that if any accompanied child came to the border, that they were entitled to, they could stay, and that they were taken care of until 6 months after they turned 18.
Right.
So people are thinking that like, oh, okay, then that means that families are going to stay together, but it's an unaccompanied minor. So then people started sending unaccompanied minors, and then all of a sudden people are complaining that because of the border patrol, people don't know where these children are, and it's like,
Well, and then those unaccompanied minors get abducted and
Yeah,
sold into terrible
absolutely.
lives, and it
And
just perpetuates that problem.
they've actually done DNA tests very recently and realized that a lot of these people who are saying that these are their children, it's not their children.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you think happens to these not their children people?
And you know what we've seen a giant rise of since Obama's presidency in Arizona specifically is child trafficking.
Oh,
We have
absolutely.
a huge child trafficking.
Yeah, that
problem
never
here
used to
in
be something that was
Arizona.
talked about when I was growing up. And so,
No.
like, I never remember any adults telling me, like, be careful where you walk or don't go. Like, that was never an issue. It was always don't talk to strangers, that shit. You know what I mean? But, like, now, in the last, I don't know, handful of years, it's really become, like, an issue that's heavily
Right.
talked about, and I don't know if the whole country is super into it, but at least our
Well-
demographic is very into
Well,
it.
as far as and the child trafficking issue is a good issue to be into and want to take measures against, but
But it
the
was never
thing
such
is-
an issue to begin with.
right? But because it all comes back to all of a sudden now that Trump is president and he's trying to take measures against the immigration stuff, but it's simply because he is a Republican president. It's like, now this is a huge fucking issue. Look at all the bad shit he's doing. We have pictures of immigrants in cages when Obama was president, but it wasn't an issue. But now it is. Like,
It's ironic.
It should have just
Well,
been an issue
Don't
the entire
Republicans do
time.
more
But now
for
it's-
minorities throughout history?
Yes.
If you actually look at the
Yeah.
laws that have been passed,
The KKK
all the ones that help minorities
and
are passed
Planned
by
Parenthood,
Republicans.
both designed to obliterate the African American population, stem from the Democratic Party.
The Republicans freed the slaves, man.
yeah.
Come on.
Well, yeah, absolutely. It's going to blow up. I think that once Donald Trump gets reelected, okay, I think he's going to come guns a-blazing, and he's going to just blow everything the fuck up, and he does not have to worry about reelection anymore.
Right.
And I look very, very forward to that. I don't think the man is perfect, but I do think he has some of the biggest balls, theoretically, that we've ever seen before.
He
And
is not afraid to flex.
No,
not at
That's
all.
for sure.
Not at all.
Which, we've spent all these years as a country building up these giant muscles, and fucking A, why not flex them? That's what they're there for,
we have
right?
to flex them because we actually didn't have a whole lot of muscles in our previous administration because we were told that, we were dealing
Well,
with
I
things
mean, like
peacefully.
militarily, economically, we've always had the biggest military. We've always had the largest economy.
Right,
We've
we
always
didn't
had
flex
the
anything,
smartest
though.
workforce.
Right.
So we have all these muscles, but
Speaking
now
of
we're
flex,
flexing them.
Speaking of flex, what about this whole thing with Iran?
That's more of you guys. I haven't been following that at all.
I can roll with you a little bit on it. I know a little bit about it.
I'm just
So,
thinking.
which part are you talking about? Let's get for the viewers. What are we talking about?
Well, Iran says they didn't shoot. Okay, so
Start from the beginning with the ships and the drone.
all right,
what
so pretty much while the president or prime minister of Japan, is he a prime minister?
I believe so.
Okay, of Japan was in Iran negotiating several different things. A U.S. drone was shot down from the sky, and
Unmanned. There was no pilot in it.
right, and then two oil tankers were sunk.
Giant ships, guys. Like
Yeah.
big, huge oil tanker ships were sunk.
Both are allies. One of them was actually Japan, who
One was
we have
Japanese.
sworn we take
The other
care
one
of.
was some kind of like northern
Yeah, it was
European
like Sweden
country
or something.
One of those, yeah.
But anyway, long story short, we say that we know they did it because the Pentagon, a nonpartisan.
They being Iran, we say that Iran did it.
Right. And Iran is like, why would we do that? We actually had Japan here.
Right.
And the reason we shot down your drone was because here are the coordinates, and it was in a area where we are allowed to shoot things down. And that's why we did it.
Right.
So, long story short, we think they're making nukes, and we want to keep it under control.
Right. There's one more thing that Donald Trump did at the end of all that. Is the next day he was supposedly there was an airstrike that was going to be ordered on Iran,
but he canceled it.
And supposedly at the last minute he canceled it, saying that it would have killed over 100 people was the number I heard, and that was too much of a heavy response to an unmanned drone being taken out.
And that's where my question is, because that's where we are now. That's where we stand. Is he almost bombed them,
right?
But we didn't bomb them. And
how do we feel about that?
It's so hard to
was
say.
That him showing restraint and being a good leader, or was that weakness?
He was showing restraint so that he could just deal with things in a very diplomatic way. I think that he was running the risk of people saying that he was a warmonger, because he's all the other kinds of monger already, apparently, according to many people in the government. So, yeah, I think he just said, all right, let's not give him any more shit to talk about. But then again, if we lose 100 people on American soil, then he's clearly the reason.
I think it was a total strategy move, and it was really smart from him. I think he's going to use that moment in...
What moment?
That moment of supposedly calling off this airstrike. So that moment of strength, he would say. He's going to use that moment, that supposed decision, in the coming debates. When he is called out for being unhinged or not showing restraint in some way.
Really quick, I'm going to go grab us more alcohol, Justin.
Like when he launched the 50 tomahawks at Syria or something. When he's accused of not showing restraint, he will be able to now say a very specific moment where he showed restraint. And I would not be shocked, just as a person, if there really wasn't even an airstrike that was going to go down and he never called anything off. And this is just a story that he said. Because there's no actual proof that there was going to be in it. There's not like the planes were in the air.
No, there is proof. There's definitely going to be some like filed paperwork or emails or whatever.
I would look at it. I would just want to look at it because it would be a very smart decision to do that strategically if you knew that you were going to need to debate here in the next coming months to have that bullet in the chamber.
Yeah, but I don't think he's a liar.
Well, it wouldn't be a lie.
It would be a lie. If he said there was never actually an airstrike, he just said he was going to.
Or maybe there was an airstrike, but it wasn't as last moment as he says.
Because it's not like you can say, we're going to have an airstrike. I just decided,
Why not?
Because that's not how it goes.
He's literally the leader of the military.
You have to give orders.
Yeah, he can order an airstrike.
Right. So you can't cancel one unless you ordered one. And there's a lot of documentation.
Okay, so I'm sure there probably was one ordered, but he makes it seem as if they were on the runway, fueled up, about to take off, and at the last second he decided, no, there's going to be too many deaths. And I don't believe that. I think that it was way more in advance that he called it off, and he knew for a long time he wasn't going to do it.
Well, I was never under the impression that it was the last second. So.
That's definitely how I read it. Was very much a last ditch heroic effort to show restraint.
Well, I definitely think
almost like a coming to Jesus moment.
Someone's going to provoke the other side without even trying. That's how I predict this is going to happen. It's going to be another shot heard around the world, and we're not going to know if it was America or if it was Iran. We're going to win. We always win.
You can't not win. If you don't win, it doesn't matter, right?
Right. No, we're going to win, and it's just going to be one of those things where people are going to love him or they're going to hate him. All I care about is we don't lose any American lives on American soil. You can't help what happens overseas. You can't help.
I don't think that a Republican president has started any of the, was the president during either of the world wars. I think it was a Democrat that was standing in office when both started, and it was a Republican in office when they both ended.
Well, even if it's not a world war.
When you're talking a shot heard around the world, that's a quote towards the First World War.
Yeah.
So I figured that's what we're talking about.
Well, I just mean anything to provoke war,
Right. Well, if Iran and America go to war, that's a world war because Russia's coming in on that. China's coming in.
You think so? You
Oh,
think
fuck
people
yeah.
are going to actually want to get in on that?
Iran, yeah, that's not like saying we're going to Afghanistan, dude. Iran is a big deal. Iran has too many ties
They
to.
have two allies.
And who are they?
Russia. And Venezuela.
Venezuela doesn't really matter.
Exactly.
Venezuela can't do it. But Russia, that's a world war. If America and Russia are at war, that's a world war.
Do you think Russia's really going to go to bat for Iran if they provoke war with America?
Yeah, because that's their doorstep. Yes, and it has too much strategic value for them. Just geopolitically, it's too much strategic value. It's an entryway into a lot of major ports. It has a lot of major airfields for them. It's a big deal.
Oh, we'll win.
I think
I
Russia.
hope so.
I think Russia. Sorry, not to butt in, but I think Russia just wants an excuse to go to war with us anyway.
You think Russia wants to go to war?
I don't think so.
I mean, I don't.
He knows that's due.
The thing is, we know they got nukes.
Okay,
so-
maybe like want is a strong word, but I mean like they wouldn't. I don't think they'd miss a chance at it though. Like,
Adam, these are very clear.
yeah, there might be a lot of vodka in there.
All right.
Just go with it.
Okay. Well,
You have to balance it, man. He's a billionaire, Putin. So if
Yeah.
he's at war, he's not going to have access to a lot of nice things. And then you got to win the war because if you lose, you're going to die. You're going to get killed, right? Your own people are going
Right.
to kill you, or the enemy's going to kill you.
I just think if
So-
it comes to like the U.S. going to war with Iran or declaring war on Iran, I don't think Russia's going to miss the opportunity to be like, no, America, I don't think so. And then it's going to just burst out into...
I don't think it would be like Afghanistan or Iraq. I think it would be a much bigger deal than that. And also, Iran has a proper military, bro. They have proper jet fighters and actual, like, not our standard, but compared to the world, they have a proper military.
Am I just misled when I think that everybody should just be really fucking scared to go to war with us?
Well, yeah, because the rest of the world thinks that they are the strongest in the world.
Really?
People from other countries think that their country is the greatest. Yes.
Are you fucking
It's called
serious?
nationalism.
No, I understand that, but we don't have our pulse on Iran's economy and government, or Australia's, or South Africa's, or anywhere else's. Everyone knows what goes on in America because we are the pulse of this planet.
Yeah,
I understand, but there's been many, many times throughout history, Justin, where smaller entities, the underdog, have beaten vastly superior
But
militaries.
never us.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I mean, the Romans didn't lose until they lost. It's everyone can lose.
That was before nukes. I mean,
Also, technology changes things too, man.
and ours is the best.
So far, yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's necessarily that anybody thinks that.
Woo! Oh,
Yeah, you're welcome. I don't think. I don't think necessarily that it's anybody thinks that they're better than America in the sense of just like nationalism or our military. But it's just like, I mean, we've all seen it in school. The small guy will take on the biggest guy just because he has the balls to fucking do it.
And why did we fight the British? Why did we take on the largest military, most powerful in the world? We knew it was a lost cause. There's no possible way that we could have won. But it was that or we died. Like, we had...
well,
it was our
either that or
freedom.
we were not free.
We were
weren't
fighting.
gonna die.
We were fighting for a cause that we felt was so great. We're willing to die for. So are these people.
I just feel like then there was a little bit more possibility. I mean, the Indians fucking fought settlers who had guns, fire sticks. You know what I mean?
Dude, there's
It made
just
a lot
as much
more
possibility. There's ways. Guerrilla warfare. There's, you disrupt supply. You disrupt the money. You
Right,
do,
and
you do
we're
different
the
things.
best with that. I mean, we just completely ripped apart what the second largest technology company in the entire world.
But when we entered into World War I or World War II, two wars that were already big when they started, when we got into them, we were in pretty good shape by the time that we got into both of those. Probably in one of the strongest positions in the world at that point because we had not been fighting. But we didn't jump into the wars and just start kicking ass and win in the first year. There were many points in both those where we were losing pretty badly because there would be a jump in technology or there would be a jump in strategy You know, when you're trying to attack over oceans that are 2,000 miles across, you know, you have to get your people and your equipment and your fuel and food and shit all the way over there. Those people already live there. They already know the geography. They already know where to hide and where to jump out of. And
Yeah, but
it's difficult.
But a lot has happened since then. We can literally see like a missile coming and just knock it out the way.
We can literally shoot in the wrong direction and still hit. Our bullets have GPS on them.
So
Like,
I just don't see why another country would even want to fuck with it unless they are they are certain that they have the weapon that is gonna fucking do it.
Also, what if they just turn all the power off? What if it's a cyber attack? And then if we don't have power, how do you shoot the missiles? The missiles take electricity.
Because we have ways of making sure that if case that happens, we get power.
Well, it would be a pretty big deal, dude. I think that it would be more devastating if the whole city of Phoenix lost power for 3 days in a row. I think that would be more devastating than a substantial sized bomb going off in downtown Phoenix. I think a lot more people would die without power for 3 days.
Why?
Because no one knows how to live without power. You would start to lose food, then you would start to lose transportation.
In 3 days.
Yes. It would be chaos. Can you imagine if there was zero power for 3 straight days?
Yeah, I can't imagine. It happened in New York City. Everybody was fine.
Chaos. It would be fucking crazy.
Yeah, it was fine.
So let's say it's 2 weeks.
Yeah, it
What
was
if it
fine.
doesn't turn on? No,
there was
it
a
wouldn't be
blackout.
fine.
It was fine. People literally got off the subway and fucking walked across the Brooklyn Bridge to go home.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
After 2 weeks, your refrigerator doesn't work.
Let's
your
check
fucking
how
AC doesn't
long
work.
this blackout in New York was in 2004, I believe it was. Adam, can you look that up for us?
I absolutely can. 1 second.
I think everybody will be fine.
Dude, I think it would be
Especially
devastating.
here in
When was the
Phoenix.
blackout?
I believe it was just right. New York blackout 200. It's got to be like
2003.
Dude, 115 degrees outside with no electricity for a week. People would start dying.
in the city of Phoenix. You know
People
what you
would
do?
start dying.
You go to the city of Glendale, or you go to.
Oh, you could leave. What if the whole nation's out of power, though? If they cut the what if they cyber attack us, dude?
We'll be okay.
I sure hope so, Justin.
There is definitely a way to
sure
make sure
hope
that we
so.
have power, especially if we're talking about the wind farms and generators and this and this and that.
I sure hope so.
Because if that was the case, that's how we'd win any war then. If you could just turn off the power and win, we would have turned off the power and won.
That's the first thing that we do when we attack
So
someone.
it was about 2 days.
Okay.
So some of
2
the
days.
so it started at 4:10 p.m.
Was there looting and shit?
That I don't know. I just looked at how long it lasts. So it said it started at 4:10 p.m. Some power was restored by 11, but most did not get their power back until 2 days later, is what it says.
Okay. So 2 days in New York.
They literally
Pretty good weather there.
It was summer. It was in the 90s, and they literally just
Well,
walked
2003, but yeah.
home. No, the 90-degree weather.
So if you wake up
oh,
tomorrow
gotcha.
and none of the power works,
Uh-huh.
and you go, oh, fuck, you start talking to people, and none of the neighbors' power works, and you realize that no one's power in the nation works.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you'd start freaking out. You'd be like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh, you'd
It would be
freak out,
total
but you're not gonna
chaos.
die.
It would be total chaos.
You're not going to die.
I think people would start dying. Maybe you won't die, but I think people would start dying.
Life
People are fucking
support.
stupid.
People on life support would die.
No, people who wouldn't die otherwise would start to die. I think they would. Food would start to spoil. You wouldn't have access to water.
Or beef jerky, or canned food.
Yeah, but there's millions of people, dude.
Yeah, I know, but people are
I'm
resilient.
telling you.
It
would
look,
be- it
I'm
would
not,
be
I don't
fucking
think that's going to happen.
chaos.
I think that we have lots of backups in case, the power grid, something happens to it. But,
I hope so. You have a lot of faith in it. I hope we do have what you think we do.
well, we do.
We
have a lot of ways to back up
nothing to worry
energy.
about, I guess.
But I just don't think that anyone's
You
going to be
seem
able
very
to.
confident, so.
I think that I just don't think it's going to
I hope you're
happen.
right.
I think that we definitely protect our power grid to make sure that does not happen.
Okay.
It's
great.
got to be a very, very basic need.
Do you think we have the best power grid in the world?
Probably not, just because we are a massive country.
I
We
would
are
feel like
tr-
Japan.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's just the first country that comes to mind.
Much
They literally just had a
smaller
nuclear plant explode, not that many years ago. Their shit's fucking janky.
But isn't like when you say like power grid system, isn't that specifically referring to like electricity and stuff?
Yeah, the electricity plant, the nuclear electricity plant blew the fuck up.
Oh,
And
wow.
nucleafied all the people around it.
But I think the reason we
I think there was a tsunami. I think the tsunami hit it.
I was
that's
gonna say,
why.
if I like, in
but
general.
still, it blew up.
We are a very large country, so I don't think, and we don't have the most incredible infrastructure in the world.
I don't actually know.
You know, so like Singapore,
I just know I don't have that much faith in it.
Singapore is known for having some of the best infrastructure in the world. I wouldn't be surprised if we had like, inferior,
We probably
grid
have some of the best
system.
internet infrastructure. I think our internet infrastructure is amongst the best.
I don't think it's even top 10 because Romania is the 5th fastest
We
internet.
have 5G, dude. We just got 5G.
Yeah, I think it has to do with your geographics. I think that determines a lot, how flat or mountainous everything is like that. Because Romania is the 5th fastest internet in the world. It's lightning fast to the average user. And they're not even like a super technologically advanced country. But I think our internet's all right.
I don't know. I was gonna say I
What are
get
you talking about?
pissed-
Internet fucking blows.
I get pissed off at our internet all the time. All the time, Matthew and I will be watching fucking
That's
Hulu or
awful.
Netflix. I'm like, what the fuck am I paying this internet for?
I don't have a huge
it's
issue with
expensive.
internet.
Oh man, for streaming sometimes it fucking sucks. Like most of the time when I'm watching it's horrible sometimes because I'll be watching like YouTube on my phone, right?
We don't have Cox, guys.
And no, we don't have Cox. But we do have Cox, just not the internet Cox. And
Nice ones.
and I'll be like watching like YouTube on my phone, and my phone will like YouTube will automatically like set it at like 480p, right? Like fucking Ice Age fucking quality. And in order to get like the best quality and not have it be buffering so much, I literally have to turn my Wi-Fi off on my phone and just use my phone's data.
Oh, I have that everywhere.
Well, that's my point, though. Yet I'm paying fucking $80 a month for internet access.
Supposed internet.
Yeah.
Let's cancel
I have to
it
watch
then.
my YouTube videos at 480.
Can't do that. I need my PlayStation 4 Plus, man.
Well, that's the thing, too. We have like fucking 12 different devices hooked up to it all the time.
I have unlimited data. I'll survive.
And well, with the phone, sure, but like when it comes to like wanting to watch, well, I mean, I guess you're right because I just found out recently too we can connect to like our Chromecast and stuff without actually having to be connected.
Can we connect
to,
to our
internet.
Chromecast, Adam? Our Chromecast is pretty janky.
Actually, we can connect to it better if I don't have the Wi-Fi on. I'm dead serious. So when I
That's amazing.
when I turn the Wi-Fi on, it will like recognize it, right? And I always have trouble connecting. But if I turn the Wi-Fi
Bro,
off,
why don't we just ditch Orbital? Why don't we go with CenturyLink?
Well, we're with CenturyLink.
Why don't we just ditch CenturyLink? Why don't we go with Orbital?
Orbital's
we just do
television. I don't think Orbital's
No, Orbital's
internet.
the other
Orbital's-
option for internet. out
Yeah,
here.
they offer like.
But we have
television.
Orbital at my work, and it sucks ass.
Yeah,
I think
But
they
I
both
mean,
suck.
honestly, like now that we're talking about it, like now that we know we can connect from just our
No,
phones.
because my
to
phone is
Chromecast.
literally a Wi-Fi phone. My phone doesn't work unless I have Wi-Fi.
Okay, well then we can't. For
So please
Matthew.
keep paying the Wi-Fi.
I don't
bill.
pay for the internet, so I'm.
Let's talk about something else because I don't like where this is going.
Honestly, I'm sure it'd be one of those things where, like, if we canceled the internet, we'd be like, we also would realize all the things that we need the internet for.
Yeah, don't cancel the internet.
You know?
I'll be not happy.
But fuck.
You said butt fuck.
Well, here's to the future. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, no
You
kidding.
think there was ever a time where people were like, "This is it. This is over. There's no future."
Yes. I do for a fact because sometimes like I'll be complaining about stuff that's happening in today's day and age or being like, oh, we're close to a civil war or whatnot, and my parents will tell me all the time. They'll be like, yeah, well, we thought so too when we were younger. With whatever was going, like Watergate, for example, like shit like that was
Or the
happening.
Cold War.
Or the Cold War. Yeah, there was so much.
They literally
shit.
thought Russia was going to nuke us
Yeah,
every day.
exactly. There was so much shit that happened when they were younger where they're like, we thought the exact same fucking thing, and here
probably
we
gonna be
are.
fine. Yeah.
We're gonna be fine.
As long as the wrong person doesn't get shot
Yeah.
or...
I mean, think about it. 30 years,
You
we're going to
know.
be like, remember when Donald Trump was president? Remember all that hubbub? And it's going to be a fucking blip in the
I
past.
really think he's going to be our generation's Reagan.
I just
I think
hope
so,
that I
too.
can
He is.
say, "I told you. I told you it was going to be good. I told you it was going to be fine. Y'all are idiots. Weren't you the bitch that was like screaming, no?" at the inauguration, you dumb bitch.
I will say though, I have honestly gotten
Jesus.
I have honestly gotten to this point with politics where, like, I mean, obviously I have my opinions. I've discussed, multiple of them on this podcast today. But it's like, I mean, I used to be somebody who, like, really tried to follow it and, like, made sure I was, like, up on everything. I mean, Justin. There was a time I was working from home. I mean, that's all I was fucking doing was looking up different shit about it. And now I've just gotten to this point where it's like, I just have so much other things that interest me more than the politics.
You know what interests me about the politics today is not the politics. It's watching the history be written. Like, because I really enjoy history and I enjoy studying it. I find it fascinating.
Right.
And I mean, we're literally watching the history happen.
Yeah.
So, in that 30 years from now, it's going to be cool to literally be able to talk about it and be like, look, I was there.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
and while I was there, I kept up on it. So I actually know about this shit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, that already happens to me now. And I mean, I'm sure this is, like this on steroids for you, Justin, but like 9/11, I mean, you and I were young when it happened, Matthew, but I mean, you were older, Justin, when it happened. Grade. Yeah, I was in 5th grade when it happened.
I was in 11th grade.
Yeah, see?
Wait.
So, I mean, but already though, like I have coworkers I talk to who like were born in 2001. They have zero memory of it.
Those people who are like coworkers now, right? So they're like 18 years old and shit.
Yeah, 18, 19.
They've literally, since the second that they were born, we've been at war.
They've never known. Yeah.
America not at war.
Ah, it's fucking crazy.
And I've lived through like 3.
Justin's like, we're fine. We're good at this. Don't
worry.
worry.
This is why Justin's really hardly a millennial. Like, you just reached the fucking,
I remember when the war was over, I told my mom, well, I want to be in a war.
No,
really?
And she was like, why? Wars are bad. I'm like, because now we're not doing anything.
Oh, I know.
Because it was when Bush daddy, not Bush son.
Right.
It was Operation Desert Storm. And yeah, it had finished up, and we were out of a war now, and the poor motherfucker just got dumped by his own country. That was so sad. So sad, by a charismatic guy with a overactive libido and roaming hands. How are we supposed to know that everyone else thought he was charismatic too, apparently?
Well, but the thing is, and the reason why Bill Clinton is always revered as this great president is because regardless of all the other shit and all the bullshit policies he put through that we know are bullshit now.
All the time they seem fantastic.
Yeah, but like he did like bring our economy back. The 90s was a great time for the economy.
So we had a budget surplus during Clinton, and it was because he cut the funding to all of the fucking national security shit that you could think of.
Regardless of the reasons.
What happened after that 8 years later? Voila, 9/11.
Touche. Regardless of the reasons, though, people lived pretty good fucking lives in the 90s.
Exactly. But that's the bummer, is that even the dumbest idiot.
He had his war. He did Bosnia, didn't he? We didn't go on the ground or anything, but we dropped all our World War II shit.
That was like
on
the
him.
first war of Iraq, wasn't it? Wasn't there like a
Bosnia?
Yeah, wasn't there like wasn't there troops on the ground in Iraq at some point?
No, a different country. There's a country called Bosnia, and I'm pretty
I know the
sure
Bosnia thing too,
that we dropped a bunch of bombs on him.
I thought there was something with Iraq also while he was, because I thought that was like the big like predecessor leading up to 9/11.
Okay, what happened there? I don't think we want. It wasn't that when he invaded Kuwait, when that dude who was in charge of Iraq invaded Kuwait. And he was going to invade
Saddam Hussein?
Yeah, when Saddam Hussein was going to invade Kuwait.
It.
And before he did it, we said, no, you can't have Kuwait. And he didn't do it.
That might be what I'm thinking of.
I think that's what you're thinking of.
Okay.
He was going to invade Kuwait. And we said, fuck, no, you can't do that.
Okay. But wasn't that kind of a predecessor that like led up to 9/11? Like, because the way that it was explained to me years ago by like my parents and like teachers and stuff was that Clinton was like given the chance to basically take out bin Laden a few times, and he kept saying like no. And then there was the bombing.
We used to give him weapons and money. He used to be our buddy to fight the Russians.
Well, Saddam Hussein.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
but
we
I'm talking
built
about
him.
specifically bin Laden.
Oh, bin Laden?
Yeah, I remember I was told that there were a few, because bin Laden was always on
That's
on
Afghanistan,
the radar.
right? That's Afghanistan.
Yes, but I thought Iraq was involved in some way, shape, or form with that.
I'm too
But
many
I don't
drinks in
know,
now.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
But I just remember it was explained to me once that like Clinton had like the option to like take out bin Laden multiple times and said no for whatever the reasoning was at the time. And then obviously the result of that was 9/11 because we didn't take him out.
Well, Hillary Clinton became the Secretary of State. We just killed everybody.
Well, what's ironic is 9/11 was actually the Saudi Arabians, but nobody talks about that.
But bin Laden was still behind it.
He claimed it. He made
Yeah.
a video
He
saying that he was
claimed it.
behind all of it.
Sure. But it was actually the Saudi Arabians who trained the pilots and gave them the money. And I'm
Well,
pretty
we
sure
trained
that
the pilots.
the pilots were literally Saudi Arabian. Yeah.
Well, that's a whole other rabbit
But we
hole,
can't
isn't
talk
it?
about that because we get all our oil from them. They're our buddies.
Well, there was politics. On another note, Matthew and I have been watching a show on Hulu.
Oh, dude, yeah. Into the Dark?
Into the Dark. Justin's seen a few episodes with us.
Into the Dark, guys. It's a cool show. I like it.
Why don't you explain to them what the show is, Matthew?
It's how do you explain it? So every episode has a theme around it, and every episode is themed off of a holiday from each month within the year. Okay? So they'll pick a holiday, and it's kind of like a creepy show, I guess. It has like creepy undertones.
Uh-huh.
Think kind of like Twilight Zone. If each episode was like a short film, that's kind of what's going on.
Each episode's an hour and a half.
Hour and a half. They're
Yeah.
long. They're very obscure ideas that
Yes.
make you think.
Uh-huh.
It's a cool show. Our biggest beef, I think, with this show, guys, is it's too fucking long. Each
Yes.
episode is too fucking long.
It's a half hour too long.
Uh-huh.
That's it. If they just fucking
just too
made
drawn out.
each one an hour long and got rid of all the bullshit exposition that's in each one.
They talk too
It'd be on
much,
point.
and the issue is that, and I've actually tested this. You can sit on the couch with your earbuds in and watch something else on your phone,
Mm-hmm.
and just look at the TV every now and then, and you literally know everything going on.
Yes.
You
Well,
don't have to listen to any of the words.
The problem is they reiterate things too much. So like if the premise, for example, so let's say the premise is somebody keeps accidentally killing somebody, right?
Right.
You know,
which is
like,
literally one of them.
yeah, one of them. So like if that keeps all of a sudden though, like they'll make that the thing that constantly happens for the next 45 minutes. This person accidentally kills this person, and then there's an uproar, and then there's a little bit of a calm, and then he'll accidentally kill somebody else, and there's an uproar, and then a little bit of a calm. And it gets to the point where it's like after 5 fucking times, it's like, okay, we fucking get it.
And there's a lot of unnecessary banter amongst the characters.
Yes.
And by that, I just mean like them talking about things that literally mean nothing to the storyline.
Yes.
It's just banter, but it'll go on for like 4 minutes.
Yeah, big time. Like
And-
there was one that was called, one of our favorites actually, that was called "I'm Just Fucking With You."
That one was really good.
Which, if you're going to watch the show, I recommend starting with that one or the episode called "They Come Knocking."
That's what we started with.
That's
They come
what we
knocking.
started, yes.
It was good enough to keep us going.
Yes. But like in the episode "I'm Just Fucking With You," without giving too much away, there's a guy who likes to play a lot of practical jokes on somebody, right? So they established that at the beginning that, okay, he plays practical jokes on people. Cool. And then he plays another one and you're like, this guy and his fucking practical jokes. And then fucking like 45 minutes in, you're like, I get it. He fucking likes practical
But they're not
jokes.
leading up to anything.
Yeah.
They're not escalating. They're not leading up
No.
to building his character.
All of a sudden, it just shit hits the fan. Is what happens
yes.
in all of them. Shit just
Which
randomly
would have
hits the
happened
fan.
regardless.
Yes.
So now here's some pros, okay? Because this is a good show, guys.
We recommend it. We
I
recommend
would
it.
give it a solid 6.5 to 7. Overall, I give it around the 7
It's
range.
a good show to get together with friends, have some drinks, smoke some weed, and just fucking like laugh at it. You know, in
Excellent
some
acting.
Of them.
Across
Yes,
the board,
excellent acting.
overall, I've been very impressed with all of the acting. The scenes are beautiful.
Yes.
All of the, it's top-notch quality. The editing's really nice. Everything about building it is really well done.
Yes.
It's just, it's not engaging enough to be an hour and a half. It needs to be an
No.
hour.
Black Mirror started a movement, dude, because I feel like Black Mirror came out, which was basically like this Twilight Zone, but having to do with technology. And then all of a sudden, you just start seeing all these different kind of shows.
This is like Twilight Zone
out.
of holidays.
Yes.
Each one's a holiday.
But that's just it. But like they even like so you have the Twilight Zone of holidays that we're watching called Into the Dark. I mean, Jordan Peele literally rebooted Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
So that's back.
Well, they're fascinating.
Yeah.
People love that shit.
And I know there's a couple of others out there that I have not seen yet, but I know they exist. Yeah. You know, but which is cool. I'm glad that those kind of shows are back because if they're done well, they can really make you think and, you know, you can get really into them. But I think at some point we're getting to a point where this is going to become oversaturated.
You know what they're doing too is podcasts with that kind of thing. They're like
I've
thriller,
heard that. Like
they're
the old
podcasts.
radio shows.
Yeah, and they'll have the sound effects in it and everything, and they'll have script and have actual voice actors doing it, and it's really dope, dude, because you get the effect, but you get to make the picture in your head.
Creepypasta started that whole movement.
Well, and I mean, even before that, it used to be on the radio and shit. That was like,
well, yeah,
but dude,
I mean,
some of it's really fucking creepy.
Oh yeah, dude. I remember. Have you ever listened to any of the creepypastas?
No, I've heard of it, but I'm not real
dude,
into it.
Let me tell you. So Kyle is actually the one who got me into creepypasta.
Shout out, Kyle.
Shout out, Kyle.
Yeah, we love you, bro.
So Kyle's the one who actually got me into creepypasta. And I remember there was a particular... Because I had listened to like a couple of them. That's actually where Slender Man came from.
Oh,
right?
okay. Yeah,
So there were the pictures that came out first, and then somebody wrote a creepypasta about it.
Okay. So it's like a fan fiction kind of thing? Like
some of them are
site?
fan fiction, but a lot of them are it's like modern lore. So people create these like modern these modern horror characters.
It's just like a storyboard though, right? Like a wall that you can post on and shit?
Well, yes. So that's how it started. It started off as like a forum, right?
A forum,
and
that's
people
the
would
word.
post like
That's
creepy
the word.
pictures, and then they came out and people would narrate these stories.
Oh, okay.
Same kind of thing though. They'd have sound effects in some of them. Then they turned to short films. It became this whole thing.
Oh, wow.
But dude, like I remember there was one night Kyle and I just got wasted, and it was like and it was a bunch of us. And like towards the end of the night though, when everyone was like passed out, it was like me, Kyle, and a few other people who were awake, and and Kyle just put on creepypasta. And it was crazy. We just fucking sat there and just listened to these things. And they were so fucking creepy, dude.
Well, because you get to imagine it. And whatever you think is always worse than what someone can make.
Oh my gosh. They were some of them were so... And it was funny because some of them were so fucking campy too. Like there was a particular creepypasta that was called Squidward Suicide. And it was literally like told from the perspective of somebody who worked for Nickelodeon, and they were brought into this room where you watch the most recent episode of SpongeBob that was developed, and all of a sudden they were talking about how they were watching this normal episode, and all of a sudden the picture started to change, and SpongeBob's eyes became this very realistic creepy red, and it was like you kept seeing clips of like Squidward trying to like hang himself or kill himself in some weird way. And this episode, even though the like subject of it was like a SpongeBob episode,
right,
creepy as fuck. Yep. I recommend it. It was started off as a forum story, so you can go onto the internet and just look up Squidward Suicide and read it, and it is fucking bone chilling, dude. Bone chilling.
I'm sure.
Like,
It sounds fucking creepy.
Yeah, I love the kind of like I love that kind of content is coming back, but it's also the worry that kind of shit's going to become oversaturated really quick. But I mean, then again, maybe
but there's
not.
always a following.
I was going to say,
it's a cult following.
I was just going to say, maybe not, because I mean, we've seen what's happened with superhero movies. Those are still going full fucking fledged.
You know what I want a new round of?
What?
A new like modern day round of is the horror. Not Broadway's, but like the horror musical, like Repos and shit.
Yeah,
I want like a new wave of Rocky Horror, dude.
Those. I would.
That's
love
what I want. I want
those.
like 6 of them.
So there's actually been some that have come out that I've actually been meaning to like look up and watch. There was one recently that came out last Christmas that was like a zombie apocalypse musical.
I think I remember you talking
about
that.
I think I showed you the trailer.
Yes,
for it.
and it looked really good.
Yeah, but it's one of those things like obviously nobody's heard of and things like that.
But that's the best part.
Exactly. but I guarantee this is going to be one of those movies where maybe like 10 years from now, there's going to be a bit of a cult following with it. So they do exist. They
I'll
have
have to
been
get on the
coming
bandwagon
out.
while it's still cool.
But I think the problem is with those particular kind of movies becoming mainstream is just that, them becoming mainstream. Because these kind of movies are not mainstream.
No.
They're cult followings.
Yes.
So the second they become mainstream,
But
they
if they
lose
make
their
a-
lackluster.
If they make a good one, though, we'll make it mainstream. The fans will make it mainstream. It's because even Rocky Horror, everyone knows that name. That's probably the most famous name.
You're true.
But
That's kind of
it's
that's
still
a mainstream
not.
one now. I mean, they've even remade it.
Everyone knows the name, but not everyone knows like what it's about, and can
True.
still like it is still obscure.
Yeah,
you know what
I'd
I mean.
agree. That's true. No, I would love to see
I want a
more
good
musicals
one. I
like
want a
that,
good
dude. I just got
And I
done
want some like not B-list actors. I want A-listers, but I want like the bottom of the A-list.
I see what you're saying.
Like when Paris Hilton got in on it, on the whole thing. You know, I want
Okay,
the
I see
bottom
what
of
you're
the
saying.
A-list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I would love that, dude. I just got done actually watching. You were actually in the room when I was watching it. I don't know if you were really paying attention to it, but because there was a man named Darren Lynn Bousman who made. He actually directed the second, third, and fourth Saw movie, and he's the director of Repo: The Genetic Opera. And he made another set of movies called The Devil's Carnival.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was
yeah.
watching that. Those were dope.
Yeah, they're really
That was the first
cool.
time I'd seen those.
You know, so
Super
there was
cool.
the Devil's Carnival that came first that I had actually seen, and I actually went to go to see the premiere when it was touring and everything, and met a lot of the actors and such. And then they came out with the sequel that I never heard of nor never seen called Alleluia.
Yes.
That I just got done watching. But that's cool because somehow he always manages to get these. I won't say bottom of the A-list because they're not really like actors. Like he had Tech Nine in Alleluia.
Right.
He had
Celebrities.
oh god, what's the guy's name? The fuck, I can't what's his name? He's like this German guy. He's done acting. He was in Baywatch. Fuck, why can't oh gosh, this is
They had
going
the dude
to
from Slipknot
fucking
in it.
annoy me. Yeah, the first one had a clown from Slipknot in it. I have to look up
The
this
German
fucking
guy. I don't know who
name
you're talking
now.
about.
Yeah, when I say his name, you're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, that guy." But I just can't think of his fucking name right now. I just know it starts with a D. Maybe he was in Knight Rider. Oh my gosh, why can't I fucking think of this fucking name? Okay, I have the IMDb up right now. I'm gonna fucking find it. I have to. This is gonna fucking
He
bother
looks
me
like
so
really intense
much.
right now, guys.
Because when I say it, you can be like, "Oh yeah, that guy." Filling empty. David Hasselhoff.
Oh yeah,
See
that
what
guy.
I don't know why his fucking
The
name was escaping
Hofmeister.
me. Yes, David Hasselhoff.
Yeah, he was on there.
So he was
on
in there.
Man, I was like, who the fuck are you talking
Oh
about?
my gosh, it was fucking annoying me. The Devil's Carnival had the lead singer to Five Finger Death Punch.
Yes, it did. He did a great job, by the way.
If you watched the reboot show of 90210, one of the actresses from that show was in it. But like, it's funny. There are these very cultish films.
If you're into those kind of things, you should definitely watch
Check 'em
those
out.
too. Those
Check 'em
are
out. They're
one of
good.
the best ones I've seen.
Yeah,
I
they're
liked them
really
a lot.
good. All original music. If you haven't seen Repo: The Genetic Opera either,
Oh, that's my favorite
that
one.
That one's the one.
That is the one to
look
start
up,
with. Yes.
man.
And if you don't know if you like the genre, start with Repo.
Yes.
And that will let you know if you like it.
And just
If you don't like Repo, fuck yourself because it's great.
oh well, I would
Great
actually
movie.
say start with Rocky Horror Picture Show. If you don't like
Above
Rocky.
Repo? Repo's a little more intense for sure.
Repo's definitely gory. It's a fucking gore fest. That's a
Gorier and
musical.
okay, I guess maybe more entry level. The shallow end of the pool would be
Start
Rocky.
with Rocky Horror Picture
Start with
Show.
that, but definitely save room for Repo. That's the
Yes.
good one.
Oh my word.
That's my
They're
favorite
so
one.
good though. But
What's
yeah,
the one
I'd
that
agree with you
with
though.
the plants and shit that's singing?
Oh,
and
Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, that's a
another
great
good
one, too.
That's another
That's a
great,
great
one.
one,
You're right.
too.
That one I would actually say is probably more mainstream than all of them because that started as a Broadway musical. And a funny thing about that one, for those who don't know, it's about a man-eating plant.
Yes. Yes, it's
But-
fantastic.
But it's a musical, and what's actually cool about it is the people who wrote the music for that musical are the same people who wrote the music for movies like The Little Mermaid.
I didn't even know that.
More recently, Tangled.
That's amazing.
Like, there's a few other Disney credits on there too, but like they're famous like music writers.
Yeah.
They've written music for a lot.
That's quality stuff, dude.
Oh,
it's
it's
quality.
so good.
It's just a different.
It's a different genre.
It's a different genre. It's not for everyone, but it's for a lot of us.
Did we lose?
I was
Justin?
gonna say, where the fuck did Justin go?
He looked at me and he said, "I'm gonna go take a break," which I thought meant he was just going to the bathroom or something, and he's still gone.
That was like 10 minutes ago.
That was like 10 minutes ago. I hope he comes back.
Do you want to go check on him or no?
Are you gonna be able to fill time for
I
while I'm gone?
guess I could try.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be back.
Okay.
If he doesn't come back in like 10 minutes, I'll be like, so are you like done? Are you? Maybe he's fucking his boyfriend.
Just
Or
in the
maybe
middle
his-
of the podcast?
Maybe his boyfriend's fucking. I mean, would you put it past him?
Well, I mean, that's true. I don't want to judge anybody, but yeah.
Oh my gosh. But Into the Dark. Check
Where's the
that
weed?
show
It's
out on
time for- It's time
Hulu.
for weed.
It's time for a cookie,
Breaking
man.
it out, boys.
I need a cookie.
Breaking it out.
There was
If you're listening and you smoke,
take a hit with
Smoke
him,
along.
man. Take a hit with him.
and if you don't, whatever.
You know, it's so funny the difference with like the subjects of the podcast depending on who's on it. Cause like today it was kind of funny because we got really heavily into things like politics and
Yeah, we did.
foreign policy and things like that of what's going on. But then like when Vince and Danny were on here last week, it was just fucking all over the place. It was just anecdotes from when we were kids and fucking growing up and just this, that, and the other thing. And I think we touched on Alex Jones a little bit, but for the most part,
Alex
it
Jones.
was-
I mean, it's really a conversation if you don't touch on Alex Jones a little bit. The dude he's a phenom. Mm-hmm. He's a total phenom.
I wonder what's going to happen to him. I wonder if he's going to, at some point, just because I think he's in a big lawsuit right now still with that Sandy Hook shit.
I mean, if there was ever a complete opposite to the saying, like, the boy who cried wolf, if there was ever a polar opposite to that saying, that would be Alex Jones. Mm-hmm. Because he literally is the guy who cries wolf, except it's not crying wolf when he does it. It's like when he says the words, they become true.
Right.
It's weird. Like, if anyone else claimed the things that he claimed, you'd be like, that dude's a fucking crazy psychopath. And it would never be true because it's insane.
Well, the problem is
But when he says it,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, fuck, 7 years later, you figure out, oh, he was fucking right.
Well, the problem is he's been right too many times.
It's crazy. That's the only reason he has any credibility. That's the
Yes.
only reason people listen to him.
So every time he talks about shit, like,
You're like, well, it's probably
comes
fucking
back.
true.
Yeah.
And everything he says is just total insanity.
oh yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna go check on Justin if he's not coming. Oh, here he is.
Hey, we thought we
I was just about to say I'm gonna go see if Justin's coming back. If not, we're just gonna end this. I was like, where the fuck did he go?
Oh no, I went to go check on my boo and got quickly just caught up. A lot has happened on Love Island, and
Oh, is that what's
You were out there
happening?
watching fucking Love Island while we were podcasting.
I wasn't even watching it. He was just quickly catching me up to everything I had missed.
So if you guys watch Love Island
my
at home,
gosh.
do a hashtag #MeToo down below.
Oh yeah, hashtag me too if you watch Love Island. It's incredible.
We love Love Island. What episode are we on? Or what season are we on?
I don't know.
Let me tell you, I did not realize how, because I thought Love Island was just like a, maybe a British thing and then a you and your boyfriend thing. But I
Gays?
listened,
For gays? It was only for gays? Is that what you're trying to say?
maybe Matthew.
Okay, all right.
Come
Say it
at
how
me,
it is.
bro. Come at me, Russell Tussle.
You want to bro off?
You want to throw off, man? But I listen to a lot of different podcasts and a lot of different people talk about Love Island.
You know what?
Dude,
It's
it's
just
fantastic.
It's
Rooster
brutal.
Teeth talks about them. Tiny Meat Gang. I think it was mentioned on Joe Rogan's
It's almost
podcast.
human abuse. It's almost disgusting, really.
It's a little out
like
there.
nothing can just work out well for these people. It must be turbulent, and It's broadcast live every day. So as soon as something is like, everyone gets in a couple and you just assume these people are going to be in couples for a while.
Wait. Hold on. It's broadcast live every day?
Oh, it's broadcast the day after. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because we watch episodes that like span a day and a half sometimes.
So just real quick, what exactly is Love Island for those who are like, what the fuck are they talking about?
It's very simple. It's like Big Brother, except everyone is expected to be in a couple, and that's how you win. The couple that makes it to the end, and if there are several, to the end wins. If there are several, it is then goes to a public vote. But the plot is consistently manipulated by the producer. And sometimes they'll introduce 3 new guys and 3 new girls. There's always a recoupling, and then whoever is not recoupled with the reject gets sent home.
If you don't get a rose, you have to get the fuck out.
There's no roses.
Oh.
There's no roses.
There used to be a show that did that.
Yeah, it was The Bachelor. Okay. You're either coupled up with or you're not coupled up with, and then you're out. And there are many ways to be out. The public can vote you out. Your flatmates can vote you out.
If you touch anybody, not inappropriately, like physically, if you physically put hands on someone, you'll have to leave the island. It happened once. There was a girl who pushed someone and had to leave the island.
Oh, I didn't even see that one.
That's why they don't get in fights, bro. With all that fucking testosterone, you realize they never punch each other or anything?
Well, the men never have real issues. It's always the girls that
Even then, they never... Because you'll have to leave the island if you do that.
But what's beautiful about it, besides just the people, is there are
gorgeous
all these incredibly beautiful people. Everyone has a perfect body. They're from all walks of life, but all they have in common is that they're all, for the most part, 10s. So if you're a doctor in real life, no one cares at Love Island if you are not the most attractive guy there.
And it's easy for a 10 on the outside to quickly become a 6 on Love Island.
Oh, totally.
It's very easy for that to happen.
So while you guys are talking about Love Island here, I was actually curious if there were any couples from Love Island that have stayed together. Not winners, just couples in general that have stayed together. So, as expected, a lot of them no longer together. A lot of them broke up pretty recently after Love Island. But there are some that are like married with a kid.
Does Danny and what's his face does she make it?
Danny and Jack.
Danny and Jack, are they on the list?
Let me see.
I love them.
I don't want to like ruin anything.
I don't give a fuck. I need to know.
Okay, so there was.
I just want to know Danny and Jack.
So okay,
well, you can say them all. Fuck
There's Josh and Kaz, Megan and Wes.
Josh and Kaz.
Oh.
Josh and Kaz. They mugged off, as they say, so they are no longer together.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Danny and Jack? Is that who?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Danny Dyer and Jack Finchman mugged off.
No.
Just 6 months after being crowned king and queen of the villa, Jack Finchman and Danny Dyer tore our hearts apart when Danny announced their split on social media.
Well, you just literally ruined this season that we're 28 episodes into.
Oh, I don't care.
I don't give a fuck because I needed to know that.
This particular no. It doesn't say if they won or not. These are just couples in general.
Oh, they're not necessarily the winning couple?
No.
But it said king and queen of the island.
King and queen of the villa. They got crowned king and queen, so that means they won.
Oh, is that okay?
Yeah.
I don't
Spoilers.
know. Okay, well there you
That's
go.
okay. We were talking about abandoning this season anyway.
But there are a couple though that like have stayed. Like, let me see if I can find one.
They're my favorite.
There was not that person. Dom Lever and Jess Shears, 2017. Does that ring a bell to anybody?
No, I don't know that
They're
one.
married and expecting a baby.
Oh, good for Dom.
There's another one that's like there was one that said engaged and parents to a Love Island baby. So she got pregnant on Love Island. This was Nathan Massey and Cara De La Hoyde in 2016. But anyways, like these names probably mean nothing to anybody who's fucking listening, except for
I've watched a lot of Love Island, bro.
But
yeah, I mean, I know most of those people you were talking about.
I'm actually surprised, Matthew, with how much you have personally have watched Love Island.
I really enjoy it
because I feel like I've only seen just as much as like Justin, you and your boyfriend have when I've like been here when you guys are watching it. But
so what'll happen is they put it on and they'll go to bed, and I end up staying up in this stupid fucking rabbit hole because I'm just addicted to this show and I can't stop. So it'll be like 2 a.m. I'll be like, fuck, I've been watching Love Island for 4 hours.
Right.
It's really hard to not disappear and have sex when you watch Love Island for like 7 episodes.
Oh my gosh, it is a good show though. I do. So there was another show similar to this that I surprised myself and got really into at the time. Can you guess what show that is?
No.
Either one of you? Jersey Shore.
Oh, Lord.
So
Oh, I used to have a buddy who
so
loved that.
at the time they were like already 4 seasons in, right? But they were all on Netflix. And I remember I was like, okay, I keep hearing about this show. I keep hearing all this shit. I'm just going to give it a watch and see what's going on. So I watched the first episode, like whatever. Like, okay, let's get into another episode, see what happens. Third episode, okay. Fourth, all right, I'll give it another one. Fifth,
Oh, then you're
I
in.
might as well just watch the 6th
you're in.
episode.
If
And
you've
then
already
before
bought
you
3
know
packs of
it,
cigarettes, you're done.
I'm like, fuck Sammy and fuck Mike. Like, what the fuck do they think they're doing? Sookie's over here doing. I was
And then they
so
got you.
into it, man.
Then
I
they
was
got you.
so into it. I couldn't help it. I got it though. I started to understand. I was like, okay, here's why people get into this. So I was pretty confident that I'd get into Love Island once.
Do you remember The Real World and
I never
Road
really watched
Rules.
The Real
and
World.
Road Rules? Yes, that was it.
So do
the
you
Real World Road Rules Challenge.
Do you remember the show Big Brother?
No.
This is most like Big Brother. Love Island is most like Big Brother.
Okay, so I used to work for Blockbuster, and my boss came in second place on Big Brother season 11.
Oh.
And she never missed
Oh, wow.
her chance to
That's
fucking
so
brag
close to being
about it.
famous.
Oh, it was so funny though, because so I didn't know this when I first started working for her, and I went to another Blockbuster, and they were like, "Oh, you work for this store? That's with Natalie Martinez, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they go, she came in second place on Big Brother 11," and I was like, "What?" They were like, "Yeah, she came in second place." And I started to look up clips from like that season, and I'm just like, I see you looking at me looking at you.
No, I'm
you
paying
looking at
attention
me.
to you. I want
Oh,
you to know that I'm listening
Thank
to
you,
you.
Matthew. I appreciate that.
Okay.
And and all of a sudden I started looking up clips from Big Brother season 11 with my boss.
Will she be the total hoe?
Oh, I just totally lost respect. I was like, how do you
yeah.
expect anybody to respect you as a manager
How do you think she got
after
second
watching
place?
this shit?
A girl's got to hustle.
Oh
if you
my
want to
gosh.
win, you got to hustle.
Dude, there was literally an episode where she had never used a tampon before. So some other girl in the house was like, let me show you how to use a tampon. And I'm like, and I go back to work and she's like, Adam, can you make sure you do this and this? I'm just like, I saw you on TV.
First
Fuck
of all,
you.
that's disgusting.
It's super disgusting.
Second of all, I don't think that I could work for a person after seeing that.
Well, this was when Blockbuster was like already had like filed bankruptcy like 7 times.
You're
So
like, I'm not
everybody-
going to be working for this person.
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
soon
So
anyway.
everybody knew the company was going under eventually anyway.
Isn't it kind of blissful when you're on a sinking ship like that? Like a job that you know is just going into the ground. Once you let it go and you accept that, like, I'm fucked in a couple months, but I'm okay with it.
So you actually want to know where
It's
I
very
get
free.
It was very free, but you want to know where I actually get the most satisfaction from it was actually what happened after I left Blockbuster. So I had quit Blockbuster for Walmart at the time. They were just paying more, and I just hated my boss at Blockbuster.
Okay.
And
Respectable.
but while I went to Walmart though, this was when Netflix and Blockbuster were still kind of in this like war, right? Of like, oh, Blockbuster's gonna be the one to take over the the streaming shit. No, Netflix is the one taking. It was when all that shit was happening, right?
Sure.
But Blockbuster was clearly going under 7 times bankruptcy. Come on. And
Lucky number 7.
And I worked with this guy at Walmart who had like invested stock in Blockbuster. And he told me this, and he kept trying, and he just spent so many days trying to convince me that, like, no, dude, Blockbuster's gonna go. And he was just this guy that held himself in such high regards and such arrogance. And I'm just, the entire time,
How
I'm
do
just
you
like,
think
dude.
the board meeting went? Like, after bankruptcy number 5, okay?
Right.
When they filed that. How do you walk out of that board meeting? Like, okay, we're gonna change it this time, guys. We
Dude.
got this. We're still okay.
When I went to orientation, for my new hire orientation, when I get hired at Blockbuster, like when I went to orientation, I had already been with the company for like a week, right? So people had already been starting to train me and things like that. When I was in there though with other people, I was literally in there with people who were like sitting there laughing because they were like, dude, I've already been with Blockbuster for like 6 months. Like, I don't know why I'm fucking here. Like, that's how fucking, like, chaotic the company was at that point. Like, clearly, you guys don't care. But the most satisfaction I got was like afterwards when Blockbuster went under, and I was just like, oh, that fucking guy who invested all this fucking stock in Blockbuster because he just knew better than everyone else. Fuck you, asshole.
Oh wow. Sorry.
Say his
My
name.
goodness.
Say it.
No, don't do that. Don't do it.
I don't know
please.
his last name.
Just don't. Just it's not a good idea.
I
Don't do it.
love blasting people on this bitch.
Fuck you, Brandon.
Roth. Fuck you, Brandon Roth. Go to hell.
Sphincterton.
Sphincterton.
Rothmeister
Baby.
Sphincterton. Brad
yeah.
Rothmeister.
But I am glad that I worked for Blockbuster because they are a company that went under and they were a big deal at the time. So I have like shirts. I have like the name tag from there. I have a Blockbuster
You
card.
got merch? You
I
got
got
Blockbuster merch?
I got Blockbuster merch. Who knows? Could be worth something one day. I don't know. I
don't know. Maybe possibly.
I have
don't
this
think so.
bright blue shirt that has on the front ask me about our rewards program.
You should try to rent it to people. That'd be ironic.
That would be ironic, wouldn't it?
And then they won't return it.
There's one Blockbuster that's still open. It's in Alaska.
Yep. The one
Did
place
they not get the memo?
we couldn't.
No, it's because they don't. Because of where it's located. It's more in a mountainous place. They don't get like good internet reception, so they can't get streaming services. So it's the one spot where a Blockbuster is actually useful, and that people still go there and buy and rent things because they're not able to stream movies through Netflix and such.
You think the old CEO runs the register now? He keeps
I'm
the
actually
place.
I'm actually not sure
store
how
manager.
that all works. I don't know if
He still makes $6 million a year.
just running that
just
one
a
fucking
cashier.
Blockbuster.
Yeah.
How fucking long have we got? Is this the longest one?
Oh no.
No. I thought it was
Not
much
even close,
longer.
Keys.
I know, not even
We'd have to
close
go
the
for another
longest
hour.
one. Yeah, it's true.
We're not going to go for another hour.
Justin's
No,
like,
I'm
no,
about done here.
I have to go to bed soon. I have to work tomorrow.
That's true. You know what? I think
Working
this is
AM.
probably a good spot to end it. This has been a good podcast. We talked about
enjoyed this
politics. We went to a little bit of Into the Dark and Twilight. We talked about Little Shop of Horrors and shit while you were gone.
Oh, I'm bummed I missed it. Sorry.
I know that's why we were asking where you were, but
Justin,
Boyfriends take time.
leave us with something. Leave us with words
Leave us with words,
of
man.
encouragement, perhaps.
It is not what your country can do for you, but whether or not you are willing to scrub the toilet after you take an explosive diarrhea poo.
Well, I took one yesterday, and let me tell you, I was not willing to scrub the toilet.
He did. He literally came in the living room and told me about it.
It's true. It was quite.
He
That's
looked.
okay.
He looked traumatized.
I
Do you remember
scrubbed
the
the
other night
toilet.
when I came out of the
Oh,
bathroom
thank
traumatized?
Yes.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Did you scrub the toilet?
Not with a brush.
Okay. Then you are both bad Americans.
Well, on that
All right. Good night, guys. Love y'all.
Oh, well, really quick. Remember, you can follow us on all the social media programs. We also have a Patreon, www.patreon.com/HeartedlyMillennial. Any final thoughts, Justin? You already gave us it, and I love to hear about your poop, Matthew. Thank you very much, guys. We will see you next week for episode 100.
Bye.
Bye-bye.